Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It is Friday, May 15th, 2026 at 2:37 in the afternoon. We're finished from the floor and we're back to have, I think, a little bit of committee discussion on S71. So, committee, I think we're at a point where we need to make a decision. I have found no way that S71 3.3 will get through the total process. I don't believe that can get this. I think we can maybe get it through this body, maybe. I don't think we'll get it through the Senate, and I'm sure the government. That's a reality that we're at. So we have two choices to make. I think that we can say we're done and we won't have data privacy again here, or we can utilize Connecticut 2025, make some moderate changes to that, working with groups that are on the table, that we can move something that will give us a basis for data privacy in Vermont. And that's something we can build on over the years to come. So I think that's where we are. That's my evaluation. I don't know if others see it different, but open it up to committee discussion and which way you think we should go.
So I think we should pass something. I've been obviously where I've been. That, that's probably obviously I feel that's a good direction.
I agree. I strongly support that direction.
I would say I'm not exactly pleased about it. I think that this is one of those fast-moving subject areas where, because of our legislative schedule, because of enactment dates, and because of other states, same things, we are always going to be braiding our legislation together. I think we had an opportunity to actually help craft and make sure that the regional landscape with Connecticut was going to live up to the fast moving changes that are coming in this industry. So even with the 2025 changes, I know they haven't been enacted, but there still is like more work that needed to get done there. It's also not the world's worst thing. So I will, to your point, Chair, I think it's important that we get something on and have something that we can continue to craft and work on over time. So I will support it.
So I sort of concur with that approach. I think there's a lot of stuff in 3.3 that really is good stuff and is improved. At the same time, I very much want privacy bill, and frankly, Connecticut 2025, I think is a pretty good bill. Of course, we're better than they are, but it's a good bill, and it'll be a strong bill. So, if we continue, there are a few sort of tweaks kind of thing, and I hope we can think about those that wouldn't really disturb the basis for, moving forward with Connecticut 225. Because I don't, yeah. So I support that direction.
Devil's in the detail. So.
I know what's a minor change to one person might not be to another, and I accept that.
Well, I don't think that, at least not for me, the need to pass a bill isn't just to say we passed the bill. I think there are some real protections in anything I've seen so far, because we have none right now. So I think that's a good thing. I'm curious to know in whatever discussions you may have had, Mr. Chairman, with Chair of the Senate or perhaps the governor's office, how much room do we have to fold in Connecticut 2025? Because that does meet one of my stated goals of regional compatibility and making sure that everything is in lockstep with things in our neighborhood, so to speak.
I think so like I said yesterday or the day before, days are all moving into one now, but when we look at model law, especially for us, we have model law and insurance. And it's designed to try to make sure that the insurance companies can apply all the laws are the same throughout the country, but there are areas where we can deviate from model law because it can be Vermont centric things that we need to do, and I don't see this as any different. That maybe we want to take a regional approach, but we also need to think about Vermonters too. So how do we can still craft within that Connecticut 2025, continue to work with people that are around the table on the outside of the table to work on those issues. I don't think that we can get all of the kids' codes definitions in there, but there's certainly pieces of that we can, like biometric data, some of that stuff. So I think we can see what develops and how much work we can go that's outside of Connecticut, because not all of it, I don't know if all of it is going to fit or not. I want everybody to understand too that our time frame is getting really short, and for us to be able to deep dive Connecticut 2025 is not possible. So we need to. There's going to have to be some factors of trust here too. John.
I think that this, for me, is a helpful kind of reset or understanding that we can go beyond, knowing that you're seeing updates, that, the horse is out of the barn and some of the stuff, and we will be playing catch up in this industry in some ways. But we create this basis, and I think we can find what are the things we want to add to that. I think it's been important for us to consider aspects of data privacy in light of some things that I would term as abuses at a federal level that have taken place in our state. And I think that there is, my sense of what we're learning so far is that we have a way to protect Vermonters, to limit the extent that we can elements of this committee's jurisdiction that feed into other areas of life, while still providing people with convenience and providing our commercial entities with access to Vermonters, those that want to support our local businesses. And my sense that we're looking with some pretty good legislation. We have a lot of people that have really engaged with people that have created that legislation outside of the state. And I'm excited about what we can do between now and probably next week, to bring something that seems palatable to all the co-equal branches. I'm glad for this.
Is there any way we can use as passed as the base?
Well, that is, Michael, it's Connecticut.
No, I know. Well, I'm just saying like the language as the base. I didn't know
It
if,
is.
okay. No, that's fine.
In order to get Connecticut 2025, you got to utilize Connecticut 2022 or 23. So
I just,
Yeah. just
I must not
remember
have-
there may be some tweaks in there that incorporate some of our kids code language as well. So
I was just gonna weigh in on the original question. I mean, as I said before, I think, you know, starting at 2025, and then harmonizing that as best we can with what we already have in our Vermont statutes is a certainly progress. And while, of course, I would prefer that we had House Bill 121 from 2 years ago, I also recognize that there's a matter of realism, and you have to get done what you can get done, and any progress is progress, as long as we don't inadvertently put Trojan horses into our bill. So I feel like we always have to be looking out for unintended by our committee things and bills that may make them less effective than they appear. And so, but beyond that, I feel like we do need to get to a resolution somewhere. And so I think start 2023 and move forward. That would be my preference.
Yeah, I guess I respect where we're at. I would rather us not continue than to copying a weakened version of Connecticut 2025. Connecticut's own AG said that too many of its residents and majority of complaints are falling under exemptions that they have, and that they are continuing to see an increase in harms that they can't do anything about, and that their laws are well behind. James Maroney, when he was doing his 2026 bill, which is a significant update, again, that just passed and is going to be signed, he was building off of us trying to move the needle on publicly available information in kids code. So he was using that to update his own, because his own publicly available information definition was too weak to enforce. When it comes to, like, I feel like we started again from a really strong place, and we have backtracked every single thing, and we kept on having all these negotiation points, and we would meet every single one, and the goalposts kept moving. Not having strong data minimization, it just doesn't make sense to me with having AG enforcement. I don't. Companies will continue to do whatever they want as far as collecting data and using it. Not having any type of prohibition on the sale of sensitive data, especially when Connecticut just updated theirs this year to add it, in the very least, a prohibition on the sales of precise geolocation. New Hampshire is trying to add kids and geolocation. Maryland just did a hard ban. Virginia did a ban on geolocation. This is what the states are trying to do. I will say that I am pretty sure no advocacy groups, civil rights groups will support this, and they will probably come out against this. It's also states like Maine and Washington and New York and Massachusetts do not have a law yet, because they haven't been willing to take the step that we're going to do right now, because it doesn't provide meaningful protection, and because we're giving Vermonters a false sense of security. For me, this feels really dangerous, and it also feels like we're being bullied into blindly copying another states. We're just basically throwing out everything we've done to say, let's just copy a state and copy the thing. Let's forget all the testimony we just had. Let's forget all of the work we just did, and give power to outside pressures on the work that we're doing in a way that makes us just scrap all this stuff. And that feels dangerous as an elected official, to say, you know what? We'll just listen to what we're being told to do. We'll just copy in other states. We're not going to take more testimony on, like, we haven't taken testimony on Connecticut 2025 without all of the other adjustments. And so we haven't fully vetted what we're about to do. I understand that happens all the time. But again, that feels super dangerous. And yeah.
Point of clarification. We say Connecticut 2025. Is that legislation in one of the drafts that we have?
We've never reviewed that.
Okay, so I was under the impression that Connecticut 2025 was more protective of consumers' privacy rights than, say, the Senate passed bill.
That's true. Yeah.
That's good. I, poor Rick. I'd like to see the document. I mean, I'm still in agreement with that general approach, but because I tried to read the Connecticut Act. It's very hard to read online. So I guess I can do that. I can pull it up over the weekend and
We'll have it documented.
yeah, I know, but there's only so much we can do.
Rick will have a document. We can look at.
Yeah.
So if people, I mean, we're not saying.
Yeah.
That it's something that may be something we don't want to have,
Yeah, I see.
but.
Yeah.
I can just know that the direction we're going in, right,
I totally
will
understand.
not bear any fruit.
I totally understand.
So,
And one of the reasons why I buy into that notion is my impression that Connecticut 2025 is actually pretty good, is a better piece of legislation than S71, which I was not in favor of at all.
No, and that's a good clarification, I think. There's a lot in 2.3, whatever version we've been looking at. That I really like, and I really value the protections that come from a law that would create. At the same time, understanding that it doesn't have a path forward to become law in Vermont is what's putting me in a position to say, what's the best protection that we can get for Vermonters?
Right.
So that Vermonters can have agency over their
Yeah.
data,
Yeah.
right? Like I bump into it every single time I'm online. It's one of these things that personally is important to me. It's very important to my constituents.
You bet.
And so, yeah, Connecticut, our residents should have at least the protections that the residents who visit us from Connecticut have, right? Because Connecticut plates are flooding our streets right now, as they do this time of year and in winter. So I just think about that every time I look at those license plates. It's one of those like reminders for me. But I can.
So Tuesday morning at 9 we'll begin. Floor at 10. Next week, floor is at 10 and 1. So plan on between times where we're off the floor, we're back in here going through 71. I don't know how we schedule you, Rick, but somehow we'll figure it out. Okay, any other questions, committee? Get out early today so that you can get revved up for next week, because you're gonna need to hold off. It's gonna be a wild ride, I think, for the next couple of weeks.
Bring your goodie bags.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Talk about